Welcome to Trash Talk Reverse. This is Harry, and today we're going to be watching Season 1, Episode 5 of Game of Thrones. Now, the last episode really pissed me off because Catelyn and Ned were acting so incredibly dumb. And I just know they're about to piss me off for the rest of the season. I'm not 100% sure what this episode is about. I thought it might be Robert Baratheon going on the hunt and then dies a couple episodes later, but I can't really remember for sure. So without further ado, let's get into it.
We'd never worn this armor before. Who determines the draw?
Okay, so last episode I criticized that maybe Ned wasn't going to be looking too deeply into this situation, but at least he's asking questions now.
Made too small, Your Grace. It won't go.
Your mother was a dumb whore with a fat ass. Did you know
I'm crying.
You're too fat for your armor.
that? Is that how you speak to your king?
Yeah, we already had this scene in the first episode.
Oh, it's funny, is it?
Dude, you gotta relax around these Lannisters. I'm actually liking this episode so far, and now I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop.
A Lannister boy.
Bloody idiot. Cersei insisted.
Cersei insisted? Red flag, red flag.
Have John Arryn to thank for her. Cersei Lannister will make a good match, she told me. You'll need her father on your side.
You'll need her father on your side, but you didn't listen, and that's gonna be your downfall.
Bow, you shits!
So many random jarring transitions in this show. I feel like I keep mentioning them. I feel like they used that same shot from the last episode. This is the guy who unseated Jaime Lannister. This tournament is really about to be multiple days, right? That's crazy. Y'all got too much time on your hands. Where's Cersei at? Get him.
Tell me, Lord Renly, when will you be having your friend?
He said that out loud, too.
Sir Loras would never do that. There's no honor in tricks.
You don't know that, dude. I guess now I get why they randomly inserted the Hound in the Mountain story in the last episode, but maybe I'm wondering if it wouldn't have been more interesting to put it in this episode so that the frame of reference was in the same episode and so that the tournament took place in the same episode. Sansa, sit your ass down. You do not know these people. I wish something else had induced the Hound in the Mountain story that we got in the last episode, because it felt like they just threw that in there so that they could set us up for this scene.
This isn't the King's Road. You said we were riding for Winterfell.
I did, often and loudly.
Word's probably gotten to my father by now. Everyone knows a Lannister always pays his debts.
This makes Catelyn even more stupid. If she was loudly saying Winterfell so that people would know, and she knew that she was doing this publicly on purpose, you purposely made yourself an enemy of the Lannisters? You are dumb, girl.
I had nothing to do with the attempt on your son's life.
The dagger found...
What sort of imbecile arms an assassin with his own blade?
Get her.
Am I starting to make sense?
Okay, that was really well done, because that got me out of my boots.
Untie me. If I die, what's the point?
The fact that after all this, they didn't end up teaming up, I mean, this would have been a great bonding moment for Tyrion and Catelyn. I think Catelyn and Tyrion should have ended up, maybe not necessarily teaming up, but at least parting on good terms, with Catelyn fully aware that Tyrion was not the bad guy. But then again, she just watched him murder someone, so. But also, in fairness, it was self-defense.
You first?
Catelyn better have heard that, but of course she didn't.
Nothing like a woman after a fight.
Well, I'm willing if she is.
I'm crying. See, this would have been fun if these guys kind of just banded together instead of Catelyn dragging him to the Vale.
Famed for their skills at archery, navigation, and lovemaking.
Shut up.
And failed rebellions.
Get him.
How can she protect the family if she's not with her family?
He cares so much about his mom, but I don't think the show really is going to take advantage of that beyond what we've already seen. Because she's going to be tied up in all the stuff at the Vale, and then Bran's going to end up going to the Wall, and they're probably not going to cross paths, for the most part, up through Catelyn's death.
I've been Lord Stark's ward since I was 8 years old.
Ward, that's a nice word for it. Your father rebelled against King Robert, and if he does to you...
My father fought for the freedom of his people.
We already got his backstory last episode, so why are we rehashing it now?
I don't want to pay for it.
Get yourself a wife.
He really said, I don't want to pay for it. I'm screaming. It's also weird that all this time, nobody has ever talked to Theon about, oh, the Starks kind of own you, but suddenly Tyrion and Roz bring it up back to back.
I suffered an early mutilation myself.
See, I would have preferred to find out about Varys being a eunuch later on, after him saying the mutilation thing, not randomly inserted in the last episode by Pycelle to make it seem like Varys might have poisoned Jon Arryn.
You are the king's hand, and the king is a fool, and doomed unless you save him.
I've been in the capital a month. Why have you waited so long to tell me this?
Because the episode called for it.
Trust you.
So why do you trust me now?
Because the episode called for it. Varys definitely does make himself seem trustworthy. I mean, if I was Ned, I still wouldn't trust him, but given that he's off trusting Littlefinger and spilling his secrets to Cersei, why not trust Varys at this point?
Lord Arryn was a kind and trusting man.
So don't make the same mistake, Ned.
There was one boy. All he was, he owed to John Arryn.
His squire, Sir Hugh.
Connect the dots, Ned.
If Sir Hugh poisoned him, who paid Sir Hugh?
Someone who could afford it.
Who can afford it? Who's the only one around here who has tons of money lying around?
Why kill him?
He started asking questions.
You know this already. You should have connected the dots last episode. I feel like we should have just skipped most of the last episode because this episode is actually going quite well, but I know they're going to do something weird and take us back down the road of everyone's stupid.
If one hand can die, why not a second?
This hand is not the other.
That is an inconvenient thing for Arya to have overheard. Though that being said, I guess what she heard isn't too incriminating, but I guess she's a 9-year-old and she's not gonna remember, oh, Varys was instructing the other guy to not kill the hand. And this episode was going so well.
All those birds that whisper in your ear, such pretty little things.
Ew, because they're children, right?
We accommodate all inclinations. Beauty and discretion.
So you facilitate really, really illegal, weird stuff.
I heard the most awful rumor about a certain lord with a taste for fresh cadavers.
Ew.
Must be enormously difficult to accommodate that inclination. To find corpses before they rot.
I was about to say what's the point of this scene, but then he pulled that in really nicely.
Does someone somewhere keep your balls in a little box?
See, this is why I wish we hadn't found out about him being a eunuch earlier. This would have been a good time to find out by Littlefinger saying this line. Too many shows, movies, books, whatever, they want to give you all the information as soon as possible rather than waiting for the opportune moment.
If the Lannisters were behind the attempt on the Stark boy's life, and it was discovered that you helped the Starks come to that conclusion.
But you know something, I do believe that I have seen you even more recently than you have seen me. When I saw you escorting a certain foreign dignitary.
Oh, awkward.
We're friends, so you can imagine my burden, wondering if the king might question my friend's sympathies. To find myself in a position where a simple word to the king.
What are you two conspiring about?
Oh, that scene was going so well. Why'd they have to interrupt it like that? I hate that he interrupted the scene. I wish that scene had ended on a more poignant note, rather than just interrupting randomly as a transition to the next scene. And the next scene's not even the council meeting, so never mind. That makes it even worse.
My brother is coming.
To a small council meeting?
Disturbing news from far away. Hadn't you heard?
I want to fight the Queen for all the good it does me.
That's not an appropriate thing to say to a 9-year-old.
If you lay a hand on me, my father will have both your heads on spikes. Now, are you going to let me by, or do I need to smack you on the ear to help with your hearing?
Get them.
They said they were going to kill you.
No, they didn't.
How many guards does my father have?
Here in King's Landing, 50.
Are they his guards? I can't remember.
You wouldn't let anyone kill him, would you?
Well,
It's about your wife, my lord. She's taking the imp.
and I love that they transitioned to them right after talking about it. I really think those two should have teamed up.
They say it's impregnable.
Give me 10 good men and some climbing spikes. I'll impregnate the bitch.
I like you.
Great to see the Tyrion-Bronn bond developing, but I know that it's not gonna go too far because Bronn's gonna then go over to Jaime.
Do you think it's honor that's keeping the peace? It's fear. Fear and blood.
Then we're no better than the Mad King.
Careful, Ned. Careful now.
You want to assassinate a girl,
Finally, Ned is standing up to Robert.
but I will not follow you now. The Robert I grew up with didn't tremble at the shadow of an unborn child. I will have no part in it.
Of course, this is gonna make him look really suspicious later on, because he is opposing Robert in front of all these people. Oh, brother. You should have talked about this privately, dude.
Damn you, I'm done with you.
If I'm Ned, I'm about to get my kids and get out of here right now. Like, come on, Jory, come on, Arya, come on, Sansa. Let's ride north as quickly as we can, get back to Winterfell ASAP.
I'll go ahead with my daughters.
Oh, he is packing.
Lord Baelish is here for you.
No.
When do you return to Winterfell?
Why, what do you care?
If you're still here come nightfall, I'll take you to see the last person John Arryn spoke with before falling ill.
This is sketchy. This is sketchy, dude. You want to leave and the first thing Littlefinger does is come to you and tries to get you to not leave? Nope, you better run out of here right now. Right now. Screw John Arryn. Screw the Lannisters. Screw everybody. Go back to Winterfell. Self-preservation. This dude has no self-preservation anymore.
That sort of thing still interests you.
It doesn't interest me, actually.
It won't take more than an hour, but as you please.
Ask him for the name.
For your best 2 swords.
Heward and Will.
Littlefinger is in the background. He totally just heard the name of your best 2 swords. Oh my god. Do not trust this dude. Oh god, it's this annoying hag. Sometimes when I watch this stuff, it just feels like the writers were thinking, what is the weirdest stuff we could put in a book/show that would just be so jarring and weird that people would just be compelled to read/watch it just because of that? Like this 10-year-old at his mother's breast and the incest stuff and just the weirdest stuff that would compel somebody to watch, not because the story is necessarily good, but because there's just a lot of really weird stuff going on.
You wrote me about the Lannisters, warning me to stay away from them.
That is not what you said.
You can't hurt us! No one can hurt us here! Tell him, Mummy! Tell him!
Shut up!
I want to see the bad man fly.
I hate this kid's dialogue. It's so weird and corny.
I will not have him harmed.
Girl, you brought him here. You should have taken him to Winterfell. This lady changed in 5 years? There's no way. Catelyn really trusted that she could bring Tyrion to her sister. She went from someone that Catelyn had complete trust and faith in to this crazy old bat within a span of 5 years. I guess weirder things have happened, but I'm thinking the reasoning behind this is more that they needed Catelyn to bring her here and they needed it to go wrong. So they made her crazy.
What hairless? Maybe you should find a little boy. I want you. Brother thinks that anyone who hasn't been to war isn't a man. Not everyone is such a gifted swordsman.
It's not a gift. No one gave it to me. I'm good because I worked it.
The dialogue in this scene seems kind of weird and unnatural.
Do you know who should be king?
Be serious.
I am. My father could be your bank.
I'm 4th in line.
And where's Robert in the line of royal succession? If you become king, you're going to see a lot of this.
This latter part of the conversation is feeling a lot more natural. They dedicated so much time to Renly, only for him to die like a little bitch, just so they could start Brienne on her arc, and to propel Stannis on his Breaking Bad arc, which then also ended in a really stupid way. So it's just failed arc after failed arc.
And the Dothraki horde crosses the narrow sea.
On what ships?
Dothraki don't sail. Every child knows that.
We have heard this like 10 times.
40,000 Dothraki screamers at his back.
40,000?
Sometimes I don't know what holds it together.
Our marriage.
That laughter seemed really fake.
I felt something for you once, you know. Even after we lost our first boy. Was it ever possible for us? Was there ever a time, ever a moment?
I feel like she's sort of being genuine in here, but everything about her feels so fake.
No. Does that make you feel better or worse?
Doesn't make me feel anything.
See, I feel like the conversations in this episode generally seem to be more interesting than they were in previous episodes.
She looks like him. She has his nose, his black hair.
She's a baby. She doesn't look like anything except for other babies.
Whores rarely sink.
What? They don't sink at all. Look away, look away.
Yore.
Oh, this is about to get ugly.
Such a small pack of wolves.
Yeah, where's those 50 guards?
I'm looking for my brother. You remember my brother, don't you, Lord Stark?
Oh, dear.
Blonde hair, sharp tongue, short man.
Catelyn, this is your fault.
He was taken at my command.
Why would you say that? I know he wants to protect Catelyn, but Catelyn is way up north, out of reach of the Lannisters, surrounded by people who trust and support her, as far as you know, because you don't know that she's at the Eyrie. How did Jaime know you were at Littlefinger's place? Now, why would you do that? That's dirty. Jaime obviously didn't plan for Ned to get injured like that because he was mad at that one dude. So who do these people work for? Anyways, yeah, that episode was actually quite good if you ignore where this show has been and where it's going. The pacing felt right for the most part. The dialogue felt right for the most part. The story points felt right for the most part. We didn't have any of the Jon Snow stuff or the Dany stuff, which is fine and actually makes it better because finally the show, it feels like in this episode, has learned how to juggle their multiple plot lines. Of course, we still run into the major problem here, which is that Ned did not run away immediately. I don't know if what Arya said to Ned is going to come into play at some point, but what I do know is that this dude should not be trusting Littlefinger as much as he does to literally follow him at the drop of a needle when he's on his way out, especially since he got word that Catelyn has captured Tyrion, meaning that his entire family is now at risk. So if I'm Ned and I just found out my wife captured a Lannister and there are Lannisters in this city where where my kids and I are right now, I am packing up and leaving immediately. Like, I am gone. As soon as he stopped being Hand of the King, he should have run away. And he was gonna do that too. He would have been safe. His kids would have been safe. Would there still have been chaos and problems in King's Landing, and would the Lannisters probably have somehow taken over? I mean, yeah, but it would have been Joffrey, just as usual, and Renly would have contested, and Stannis would have contested, but Ned and the gang would have been, well, first of all, Ned would have been alive, and therefore equipped to handle that sort of situation from safety. And I know this show is saying Ned is so desperate to find out how Jon Arryn died, or like what got him killed, but last episode, he found the book of lineages. He had his friend talk to Sir Hugh, he visited Gendry, and definitely saw Robert Baratheon looking back at him. And then at the beginning of this episode, he finds out from Varys what the poison is, and that Jon Arryn was asking questions. Ned knows that Jon Arryn was asking questions because he himself followed that trail. All he had to do was not follow this one last trail. Dude, you already have the pieces of the puzzle, and you have the book, right? Because you took it from Pycelle and you never gave it back. So what I would do in Ned's situation is I'd be like, okay, Littlefinger, why don't I meet you at your place at nightfall when nobody else is around? And Littlefinger will go off like, okay, I'm gonna meet Ned at nightfall. In the meantime, Ned gets his daughters and gets the hell up out of there. Jory and his other friends and whoever else came with the Starks can follow him because that was his initial plan, right? To just get Arya and Sansa and get the hell up out of there. That is what I would have done. Actually, take Jory too. Leave everyone else behind because you definitely need someone to help you protect the girls. Take Jory and maybe like those two other guys that Jory was mouthing off right in front of Littlefinger. The five of y'all get together and speed run to Winterfell. I don't care if y'all gotta be on horseback sprinting for weeks. Hell, at least make it to River Run. You're safe there. That's your wife's family. And that's like half the distance. I hate that Ned pretty much had all he needed to draw his conclusion. And yet, rather than doing the logical thing and getting the hell out of this most dangerous place, the writers had him do something stupid yet again by listening to a guy who has very obviously been sketchy this whole time. Like, as good as this episode was compared to the other episodes, it still makes those fundamental mistakes of forcing the characters to make stupid decisions just for the sake of the plot. The Lysa Arryn situation is about to be real weird too, because that lady is off the rails, and I know Catelyn's ass was surprised as hell. This is why you shouldn't have done things on a whim. Also, just thinking about how far away people are from each other and how long it takes news to reach. Even if Catelyn and Tyrion did band together, it would still look bad down in King's Landing. But it's preferable to whatever the hell is about to happen right now. Also in this episode, Loras and Renly's conversation kind of seemed out of place at first, and then they got into the whole line of succession thing, which I know we're gearing up for because Robert Baratheon's death is coming. Not in this episode. I'm guessing it's episode 7. I couldn't remember. Watch it be the next episode. Both Viserys gets a crown and Robert gets injured in the hunt and then dies in episode 7. But yeah, I'm definitely more pleased with that episode. I'm just annoyed that Ned's essentially going to get himself killed and Catelyn's going to get Ned killed. I wonder if someone out there has written a fan fiction of what Game of Thrones would be like if people didn't make stupid decisions. If there is, I'm still not going to go look for it. I'm not going to read that. I couldn't even read the actual books. So it could be fun to come up with, at the most, an outline, because I'm not trying to write all 8 seasons again. And honestly, even doing an outline of all 8 seasons or fewer seems too time consuming and is not something that interests me at all. But maybe after I finish rewatching all 8 seasons, I'll sit down and make a video basically summing up the main areas where the show went wrong. But that's looking way far ahead. For now, let me sign off and I will see you in the next one.